Hello and guten Tag, my name is Max, this is Make and Modify, and in the last video we built this keyboard, and now, for the first time of using it, I would like to have some lettering on there. In this video we will answer the question if it is possible to get a good quality lettering on these keycaps in a DIY fashion. So let's find out. So, again at the bench, I will go over what I tried, what worked, what did not work, why what worked and why what not worked, I guess. Yeah. If you don't care about the process, but only for my final conclusion, you can skip ahead to this time. But if not, feel free to stay. So, that out of the way. The first obvious thing I wanted to try out, since I have a little CNC machine, is milling. This was the result. You can see it. I show it to you soon. What I tried were all sorts of engraving bits. I used some of these, which have this 60-degree tip, 3 flutes, but it did not work as I want. These one, the same, also not work. They all tear apart the materials. This is PBT, and all it did was tear off the material, and it did not really cut it. So this has a very ugly surface, and the cleanup would be way too much work. So I thought I might try these, for example, and then I bought some even better ones with some better flutes, and with yeah, these have cutting edges, so I thought this might help, but it was the same result, and also the more expensive ones, which I don't have here at the moment, did not help either. That is basically one of my best results. As you can see, the base shape is okay, but you have all these residues that are still connected, and you have to sand them off or use a knife, and it's really tedious to get them away. Yeah, so after having that, and I was not really happy with it, but I cleaned it up, and then I added some color, which is this one. This looks already a bit better, but still not perfect. I think I will switch to the microscope, then you will see that a bit better. Okay, this is the milled version of the keycap, and as you can see, it's still not perfect. It's not that good to see on the microscope, but you would have to clean up the excess that is still on there. So here's a keycap where I did this, and then I filled it with some acrylic paint, but I tried to do a very good job, and still here are some problems there. It's not going to be perfect, and it's way too much work, and I think we can do better. So let's head back to the bench and have a look what alternatives we have. So what else do I have to do this? Well, I have 2 lasers, which are these. This is the 1.5 watt, and I have 300 milliwatt laser too. And yeah, I thought other keycaps are lasered, so why not try it? And the result looked like, well, let me put this on a white sheet, so maybe, yeah. You can see here on the bottom the 8 and the bracket. This is what the lasered result looked like. And yeah, I mean, you can read it, but it does not look good, and it looks a bit burned if you do too much power, and it just melts. It's, yeah, not a good solution. Yeah, and then I was stuck, and I thought about it, but yeah. Another process is dye sub, or dye supplementation printing. For this there are special printers which can print directly to the keycaps, But I thought a workaround might be to print on some transfer paper, as dye sub is also used to print fabrics, and then put on this transfer paper and add some heat and get on your keys. But I didn't get around to get to the next t-shirt shop to have a try, and yeah, then I found a solution which I think is pretty good. So what did I do? Recently I had to replace the cartridges on my laser printer. Since these were refurbished ones or refilled ones, and they were leaking and the print got really messy. And since I don't wanted to toss away all the good pigments in these cartridges, I took out some of these and put them in a little container. And then I thought about this laser process. So basically, if I recall right, this pigment, I think, don't quote me on this, I think this pigment is only colored ABS powder. Yeah. And so I thought, hey, why not do it with keycaps? And this actually is the solution. And I will show you this process in all details. But yeah, so this is what that looked like. So what did I do? I just added a thin coat of powder on top and then got over it with my laser. The laser was turned down to an energy level where it only melted the pigments but not the keycap, or at least not too much of the keycap. So this is pretty, let me show you. This is pretty good on there, so you can't just rub it off with your fingernail or something like that. And yeah, it's pretty good stuck. And of course I tried to get it away with acetone, like on this keycap, which was my first try. Let me get the paper back. This was my first try, and I thought I'd try to get all the ink or all the pigment off with some acetone. But as you can see, even after removing it with acetone, a bit is still in there, and also I think the PBT is a bit lasered. So this will be all where you can get on these. And I have not done long-term tests, but yeah, from the first impressions, this is pretty good on there. So now let me get rid of this crap and I will show you my process. The first thing, of course, we need is our pigment, and then we need our keycap, and then we have to get our pigment onto the keycap in a thin coat. You can do this by dipping it on with Q-tip, or you can do it like I will do. I will just dip it into the pigment. First, of course, you want to make sure that your keycap is cleaned. You can do this with some rubbing alcohol or whatever. And you want to get a thin, consistent coating. It's not that important that this coating is very thick, but it has to be consistent. At first I thought about maybe using electrostatic to attract the powder, but for the first tests, just dipping worked out fine. Of course, this process can be tweaked, and this is just my first result. But yeah, when our keycap is coated, we can put it into our laser machine and go from there. So here we are at my little CNC mill, and as you can see, I exchanged the spindle for my 300 milliwatt laser. This is a blue laser, and now we add the keycap. As you can see, for convenience, I built this holder where it just slots in. If you mess up the sides, it does not matter, you only need it on the top. So now we will go to the computer, prepare the data, and then engrave our keycap. So first thing, we need a design. This will be our keycap, my logo, of course. And the image will be Sorry, German layout. But yeah, it's 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter with 600 dots per inch. So you can make this as high as you want. Important is only what your size is. Yeah, but that is my picture. I save it out as a JPEG, and then I go to laser GRBL. And don't get confused because it looks different if you download it. You can set the color, and these buttons are some I made for this application. You can customize this. Yeah. But you don't need this for this process. Basically, you go to Open File, choose your image, and then you have some settings. You can tweak these, mainly these settings, to have a good preview of what you get and what you want. As you can see, if I move this slider, there are some things that are not as nice. Especially here, this dotted line might make problems, so let's increase this contrast a bit more. And now that looks fine. The only thing is here, but I can live with that. You want to do line tracing, and the quality is how many lines will it do. So this is 9 lines per millimeter, or yeah, let's make 10. Yeah, and then go to next. And now the important stuff. This is highly depending on your laser. Since this is a CNC mill and it runs GRBL, I can use the software. If you have a professional laser engraver, use the software it came with, and you have to experiment with your settings, as this also depends on the laser that you have installed. So, as this is primarily a CNC machine, I can't go very fast here, only with this maximum speed. And since I go so slow, I have to set the laser to a really low value. This is 5 or 9, and this is PWM, so the maximum would be 255. But yeah, as seen, this is a 300 milliwatt laser, and this is less than 10% power. So yeah, if you can go faster, you can go faster and make a bit more, have a bit more power. But yeah, here you can set your coordinate system, but I leave this as is, as this is my setting. Then I hit create, and here we have a preview. And as you can see, my 0 is down there in the corner. That is where I set my 0 on my machine. And all that's left is connect. If you have to set your machine to laser mode, do this. If I click here, it only sends $32 equals 1. So this is laser mode enabled. And now we can hit run, and it will perform our engraving. So here we are back at the CNC machine. We are working with lasers. Best would be to close this off, but yeah, use some good laser goggles and don't use these crappy things that come with your laser. You can't even trust them as far as you can throw them. Get a pair of, yeah, these are not perfect, but these are way better than these. So let's start this. Add my laser goggles, and yeah, the only thing left is just hit start. So done. And what I usually do is take this out, go directly to the sink and wash off the excess pigments. But since I don't want to make a cut here, I'll take a Q-tip with some water and show you that it in fact is here. And then push it out gently. And yeah. I'll clean this up and give you a close-up. So I'm back. And this is what it looks like. Oh, sorry, wrong way around. That is what it looks like after washing it off, and it already is, yeah, this is permanent now. I will give you a closer up on the USB microscope. So here we are at my microscope, and I will zoom in a bit more later, but yeah, right away I think this looks pretty good. So close up you can see, of course, the resolution, and yeah, if you set a bit more than, I think, more than 10 lines per millimeter, or focus your laser a bit better, you might even get better results. As you might see, this top corner here is a bit darker than the rest. I'm not sure what happened there, but it looked like the laser would have had a bit less power. So yeah, maybe less power is better. Let me try to. Yeah, it scrapes off. Yeah, okay. I think something in between this would be perfect. So yeah, I think I can zoom in a bit further. So, and this is the close-up, and as you can see, the lighter lines are where the laser actually was, and the areas where there's black in between just got melted. So this is also the reason why you don't want to overpower it, or you will just burn away the paint. And as you can see in the top corner here, we have a bit of flaking, and also you can't see the white lines. So I think the power dropped there a bit. This might still need some tuning. Also, the engraving took a bit long since the logo is so big, but if you take a standard letter, so let's say yeah, S for example, this is also done with this technique, there it only takes a minute per keycap. Yeah, the consistency, this is a tiny bit lighter, and yeah, but I think for a home gamer this is pretty good. I'll do some B-roll at the end where you can judge a bit better, because under the microscope this looks a bit horrible, but in reality you can't see these jagged edges as much. And of course this does not only work with black keycaps or with black pigments. This is magenta, and this is cyan, and this one, let me show you both. This one is actually a mixture of yellow and magenta to mix some red. Yeah, you can see that there are some yellow pigments on the outside, but that's only under the microscope. Yeah, now some B-roll, I guess. I think I might be the first one to have used this process for laser engraving your keycaps, but if not, let me know. Anyways, I think this might help out a bunch if you have a problem like me and want some custom keycaps and you can't get them anywhere. This might be the process. This might be a game changer. And yeah, I hope you liked it, and if so, leave me a like, get subscribed, and yeah, I see you in the next project. Bye!